It's finished here at the Cufflink Stadium, Ebbsfleet United 2, Altrincham 2, and with Phil Parkinson. Phil, a game that we obviously wanted to win, but in the end, is that a point gained or two dropped for you?
I think it's definitely a point gained on the performance, where I was saying the last two performances I was really pleased with. I thought we were really indifferent today, looked vulnerable. I think we got off with one there as well. I think some of the opportunities they had, they'll be really disappointed they haven't beaten us today. We've had reasonable ones as well, but I felt they probably had the better ones where it's took emergency blocks and saved. Charlie Olsen about 3 blocks where they've hit it sweetly. Caleb, some unbelievable saves from Caleb. So yeah, I'd definitely say a point gained.
And people might have looked at this and thought Ebbsfleet are relegated and are a long way behind everybody else, but they have been playing better in recent weeks. And you have to, I guess, also give them some credit for the fact that their season is over, but you wouldn't know it from looking at them.
No, well, this is an elite level, isn't it? They're playing for contracts, they're playing for the futures next season. They've also got some good players. I know they've been relegated, but this was a team at the back end of last season who were looking like they were going to have a good season this time, and the recruitment that they've done. And you look around this stadium and you look at our ground, and there's not a great deal of difference between us, is there, in terms of size of club, status, and that sort of makes me realise how well we are doing. It doesn't feel that way at the moment because everyone's really disappointed. And listen, I'm not going to make any sort of excuses today about the performance doesn't warrant the result. We've come all this way. We've got a point when we were desperate to win. I'm looking at the results around us. I believe Gateshead have lost again. I think Halifax are losing currently. So, as I've been saying for a while, it's not just us. It's really tough, and we're clinging on in there, aren't we? We're fighting, and I thought if we didn't win today, we'd be dead and buried, but we're not. So we'll just keep going until it's mathematically impossible for us to do it. I just want to thank our fans as well. They've travelled all this way. We're so disappointed that we couldn't give them that victory. But yeah, we definitely took a point there rather than lost 3.
We got ourselves in the lead. A typical bit of Regan Linney play to rob their defender and win the penalty, then convert him, and that was something where it felt like both teams, but particularly our press in terms of winning the ball high up, was a source of chances for us, and that's where that first goal came from.
Yeah, as I've said all the way through, he's our difference maker, isn't he? And the others all help us be a really strong team, but he's that person who gives us that bit of X factor. And I felt the others stepped up today as well a little bit. Justin Amaluza, I'm so pleased he got his goal. I thought he was uber positive today. He's starting to look like the player that we all know he can be. Matty Coslow, Alex Newby contributing, but we need a bit more from them as well in terms of that end product. They work ever so hard for us. But yeah, Regan's definitely that top player in the division, isn't he? So we're very lucky to have him.
And then it felt as if that was a game where the next goal was going to be really significant. It's often the case in football, but they got it. A great strike. Nothing Caleb could do with that one. But we were rocking a little bit towards the end of that first half and the early parts of the second half. And is there an element of game management? Is that part of the thing that we need to get better at to sort of kill those periods where teams are having good spells?
I just think we've got to be better individually and collectively. As I said to you, I thought we've got off with one because we look vulnerable at times, and we can talk about the travel and all that kind of stuff, but other teams have to do it in our division, and we've got to do better when we come to places like this. Well, any time we come down south, I mean, another positive I'll take is we've actually took a point down south where we found that very difficult at times. And I know everyone will look at these as relegated, but you can see they've picked up in terms of they've won and drawn. Now they've got another draw. We've been stuttering, so it's a great time to be playing us at the moment, probably. But I really thought the last 2 performances we come here, I felt very confident coming here, without being disrespectful to Ebbsfleet. Just looking at my team and how they've been performing, and we saw it for patches, but it's got to be far more consistent. And off the ball, we looked vulnerable at times, which is something we'll have to look at, analyse, and see why that was. But now's not the time to sort of go into that detail because I'm speaking with emotion rather than clarity of thought of what I've seen. But yeah, really happy that we've got a point in the end when I look at the other results around us, but desperately disappointed as well that we couldn't have been better on the day.
You've already touched on Caleb Anson. He made some absolutely outstanding saves. He's clearly not the finished package yet. You wouldn't expect a young lad at his stage of his career to be that, but the one at the end was phenomenal, and he might have cost us points in previous games, but he's got us one today.
Yeah, and I said that to him after the game. And that's what you're going to get with a young lad, aren't you? I mean, we've all seen that in him. We've seen him make great saves, and then he's shown an element of inconsistency. But I thought if it wasn't for him, and like I said, Charlie at times, I don't think Charlie had his best game either. But the blocks that they made definitely gained us points today. But to score 2 goals away from home should be enough for us to be more, especially in our position, to be more defensively resilient. And that's disappointing to me. So I can't really criticise the attack too much, but they have got to do better as well. They had some decent opportunities, but yeah, the defence has definitely gained us a point today.
One of the substitutions I thought generally did well, but one in particular I'd like to mention is Callum Dolan. Obviously, we've just signed him on loan from Fleetwood, a player I know that you rate highly and are very excited about as a prospect. He's not played, I don't think, a huge amount of football recently, so for him to look as bright and as sharp as he did in those 20 minutes or so that he had, that he's potentially a big positive for us for the rest of the season.
I hope so, because he did look like a match winner when he come on, didn't he? I mean, he was composed on the ball, and we had a couple of moments where he's had his pocket pinch, but that's going to happen when you play in his position. Happens to all the front lads because they've got to take the risks. But he had that one moment, didn't he? And I think if he was a little bit sharper, he either beats his man and finishes, or he slides. I can't remember who was up with him at the time. Lucas, yeah, he slides Lucas in, but it just got away from him on his touch. And like I said, that's the only bit when you take a lad in on loan. I know how good he is, but the reason we can get him on loan is because he's not been playing. So a little bit more sharpness, a little bit more fitness, which you'll get on Tuesday, and hopefully he'll be ready to go in them moments he'll finish for us.
You mentioned Tuesday, so obviously the National League Cup semi-final. I don't know how welcome that game is at this stage, but I guess there's also an element of saying it's a semi-final of a competition that we'd really like to win, I guess.
Yeah, we absolutely would, and the squad is as deep as we could have it right now. Obviously, we have got a lot of lads missing, but we've got a few return as well. So we'll certainly be going into that game trying to obviously progress to the final and take some form going into the weekend.
And I guess if you'd said to any Altrincham fan at the start of the season, going into the last 6 league games or so, we'd be in the position that we're in, we would all be very happy. But it maybe doesn't feel as good as the position is because of the difficult run we've been on over the last sort of month or so. But do you still feel that the positivity and the confidence is there in the camp that we can, if we have a good last 6 games, there's every reason to think we can get into the playoffs? And do you still feel that there is that confidence that we can do it within the dressing room?
Yeah, listen, I'm reeling at the moment, so I'm very deflated. But looking at the results around us, as I said, I felt we needed to win today. I felt we needed to win one of the last 2 games, this one or Solihull. But football doesn't always work that way. All we can do is keep fighting, digging in there. And you're absolutely right to bring up the fact of we are still in it. It feels like we've allowed it to slip through our fingers, but everyone can see the reasons. I've said it so many times, and people say they're sick of hearing it. I'm sick of hearing people moaning about me saying it, because I have to say it, because people will look to how bad we are rather than the situation that we're in. We're not a bad team. As I said, look at this outfit and they've been relegated. There's not much difference in stature of club. They've probably got more resources than us, if the budget's anything to go by from what the former manager told me. But again, that'll just sound like excuses. It's not. We've had a really good season so far. We're pushing playoffs. We got to a semi-final of a National League Cup, hopefully getting in a final. We've got to a quarter-final of the FA Trophy. We've tried to fight on all fronts. We've been desperately unlucky with injuries. But the top and bottom of it is, I expect more from us. I expected us here to come and win. But as I said, football is just a really strange environment, strange world. And it wouldn't surprise me if we go and win every game we've got coming up and get in the playoffs and take them. But it also wouldn't surprise me if we don't as well. So all we can say is we're fighting. We're trying to give it everything. I've asked for the support so many times and they've given it us. But that's what supporting a football club is all about. Support us to the bitter end. Criticise, well, me in particular, if you want at the end for whatever it is that you want to criticise me for, through frustration or anger or disappointment. But all I can tell you is nobody has took the foot off the gas. Every minor detail he's looked at. Players are focused. They're tearing strips off each other in there at half time. They're desperately disappointed at full time because they know it's an opportunity missed again. And we've just got to keep rolling with the punches. So if we give up now, what would our fans want us to do? That they certainly wouldn't. So we'll keep going to the bitter end, and we'll see where we are come that last game of the season.
Thanks very much, Phil.
Thank you.